Hi everyone, this is Ashley with Wayfinders Collective. Today I'm here to share with you an activity that I'm calling my personal inventory. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot with wayfinding and what it means to find our way through work and life is really where do we start? How does this all begin? And actually, I think a crucial part of wayfinding in the beginning, and probably throughout, is understanding ourselves. Much like, put your oxygen mask on first before you assist others. Before you can really signal and share with the world what you're looking for, you have to understand who you are and what you're all about. So today I want to talk with you about how we start. And if you're like me, maybe you are, maybe this resonates, maybe it's not how you spend that initial moment of inquiry. But for me, I make lists. That's just how my mind works. And in fact, if you think about ever having been in a transitional moment where you're asking big questions about where am I going, what am I doing, what do I want to be when I grow up, a lot of times the advice you will get is to make a list. Think about the things that you love, put them over here. The things that you're great at, put them over here, and then overlap them. And wherever they overlap, that's what you should do. The truth is, I've made that list many times, and not only has it not helped me, I actually at times have felt really bored with those kinds of questions, frustrated that it didn't really get me anywhere. Actually, even sometimes I felt even more lost doing something like that than I felt before I started. So recently I found myself in a transition moment in my career, and I started asking how I might actually kind of make some new lists, start asking some new questions about what I'm all about, to try to get at those answers a little bit differently, maybe kind of coming around the side instead of facing it head on. And what I came up with was really a personal inventory for myself. So that's what I want to share with all of you today. And if you scroll through this post, you'll see that I've linked to download this PDF. If you want to take a minute and pause the video so you can download and print it yourself, go ahead. If you have it in front of you, we'll go ahead and walk through it. So this is what it looks like. And you'll see at the top that I've included a little note about honesty and about being true to yourself. And I think it's really important to start here because the reality is, I think most often for people that recognize that they're on this journey of finding their way through work and life and trying to align their purpose at work with who they want to be in their real life, we often know a lot about ourselves that maybe we don't actually stop and give ourselves the freedom and the space and the permission to say out loud, let alone put down on paper when no one else is looking. I found going through an exercise like this that in fact I didn't put down anything that was really revolutionary. I just actually gave myself permission to be honest. So I would start there with a little pep talk to yourself. Maybe you print out a few copies of this worksheet. And the first couple of them, you just scribble. You just say, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to judge my answers. I don't have to show my work to anyone. But just giving it a shot and seeing what you surface. What are the things you know that are true about yourself that maybe you've never put words to before? My hope is that this worksheet actually helps you begin to find that vocabulary. So instead of asking questions of what do I love and what am I great at, I changed it slightly to say, ask some questions about my identity, and then ask some questions about my contribution or my value. So going through the identity section first, when I was really going through the beginning of this journey myself and making some of these lists, the first place I went to was actually, how do I spend my time? Where does it go? What am I doing every day? And starting there actually was really interesting. I kind of joke that I go to yoga a lot, and I question, does that mean I should be a yoga teacher? Now, I have a lot of respect and love for all of my wonderful yoga teachers, but no, I don't think I should go be a yoga teacher. But what does that mean about me? What does that say about what I value and where I put my time, if that's a place that really fills me up and helps me go throughout my day? So take a moment to think about how you spend your time. And in fact, if you've seen the 20 Things That Bring Me Joy checklist that I've created, that you can find also in this practice section, maybe you start there and then you bring in some of those things that you know bring you joy. Hopefully they are part of how you spend your day. But starting with that cataloging, that inventory of where does it all go, will help you identify patterns perhaps. The next question, instead of what do I love, but what conversations or topics am I naturally drawn to? There are some things that I just love talking about that I don't worry about where the time goes. In fact, I lose myself in those moments. What are they? And maybe as you go throughout your couple of days working on this activity, you kind of stop and pause and think about, oh, I got really caught up in that conversation. What was it about that really filled me up or helped me feel energized? So thinking about what you're drawn to, learning about, talking about, reading about. And then this one I think is really interesting, that what communities do I belong to? What personas or identities are really authentic to me? As much as wayfinding begins with introspection and self-reflection to really know who you are, it's really important that we don't just stay in our heads, and instead that we think about, who can I connect with? Where do I belong? You know, so many people are writing about and talking about belonging these days, and I think it's really crucial. So understanding where your people are and what identities are really authentic to who you are, I think perhaps can help ground your inquiry into what am I all about and where should I go? What should I be doing with myself? Thinking about where can I get plugged in with people who can support me, challenge me, help me grow, and perhaps even partner or collaborate with me. So hopefully that helps you get at kind of where your village is. Thinking about my contribution, you know, not just saying that age-old question, what am I great at? But if you look at it slightly different, a wise friend of mine actually challenged me to answer the question, what do I do better than 9 out of 10 people? Now that's a really kind of different way of thinking about it. It forces you to cut out all the clutter and instead really say, what is the cream of the crop? You know, what are my top handful of things that I know that I excel at? And the truth is, there may only be a few things that, especially as you practice and you're getting more used to being honest about what you're great at, it may be a bit hard to come up with more than a few. I know for me, I think on the list I'm working on right now, I've probably got 4. And they're really good ones, and I'm really leaning into them. So thinking about what do you do that's really you excel at, and understanding, you know, sometimes I know for me in the past, some of the things that I've known that I excel at, I haven't necessarily seen as valuable skills. So thinking about, again, putting down that judgment of what do you excel at, what do you do better than 9 out of 10 people, and instead just saying, let's put down on paper what I know those things are, and we'll deal with the worry about the value later on. That was an important pep talk that I gave myself, at least, through this exercise. Thinking then next onto, you know, who complements what I'm great at. You know, if I've got my list of 3 or 4 things that I do better than 9 out of 10 people, who does something else, something different, better than 9 out of 10 people, that if we came together and actually worked together, maybe they're someone else who belongs to the communities that I'm a part of, maybe they're completely different, and actually that's a value add and a strength. But who could I pair up with to be even more powerful, to have an even more impact wherever I go next? And then finally, the question that goes back to that point of value, you know, who understands and values what I really am terrific at, where I excel, and who has the funds to support me? Maybe that is an organization, a company, a foundation. Maybe it's an individual. Maybe it's clients if you're considering going into your own consulting business, for instance. But actually starting to put pen to paper around who sees value in what I know I can do, and who would be willing to pay for it. I think often, particularly for other women professionals that I know, that question of value and who will pay me to do what I excel at, it's not an easy one. And my hope is that by starting to put some of this down on paper, you'll see that there are some answers there. It's not this fuzzy, ambiguous kind of mess of, I just don't know where I'm going. So hopefully this worksheet will help you start thinking about understanding yourself, what you're all about, and where you can head next in new or fresh ways to inspire some new thinking. If you do try it, I would love to hear from you. What do you think? You know, this very much is a working prototype for me too. So send me feedback. Please let me know. Did the questions make sense? What would you add if we were to make a new one? If you give this a try and you say, you know, I'd really like to talk with Ashley about my own wayfinding journey, please contact me. There's an email button up in the top corner. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to schedule a quick call to see how we might work together. And as always, please share this with friends if you found this helpful. I'd love to grow the community of Wayfinders and really bring in fresh voices and grow the conversation as well. So thank you, and onward. Okay, bye-bye.